I'm Jess.
And I'm Mack, and today we're going to be reviewing Twisters.
Coming up next on Review Crew. Yay!
Great. So Twisters is a standalone sequel to a movie from the 90s, and this is about Kate, an ex-storm chaser who is recruited by an old partner to test a new tornado scanning device. And along the way, she has to partner with a famous YouTube sensation who's also a storm chaser. And I won't lie, Jess, the plot to me is a little bit of a mess, but I honestly found it somewhat enjoyable. What did you think overall?
It was fine.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was fine.
It was literally like the words that was echoing through my mind during this.
Yeah.
But it was fun, you know. I obviously didn't have the pleasure of seeing this in the movie theater. That was probably like the big selling element of this throughout the summer, but it did really well. So I think I want to start off by talking about the performances. So obviously, Daisy Edgar-Jones is making the jump from the small screen to the big screen in her big first movie debut, and I thought she did a really good job.
I thought she was great. I love her. I saw her in Fresh, which was really good with Sebastian Stan.
Yeah.
She killed it. I mean, she kills everything that she's in, I thought.
Yeah, obviously, I know her from Normal People. I thought that was a really great series, and it was kind of interesting to see her in this like big blockbuster role. Killing the American accent, by the way. But I think there was like a lot of surprise depth to Kate. You know, I was like initially thinking, okay, this is not going to be interesting. It's about like storm chasers. That's like a crazy way to like go about living life. But like, it's honestly like a redemption story for her.
Yeah, she had a lot more of a nuanced performance than I thought she was going to have. She's a lot more muted than you would expect in a big blockbuster.
Yeah, and I think that this is a movie that definitely knew what it wanted to be. You know, it's not like aiming to win awards. It's just fun. You know, it's there to like make money and entertain audiences.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite parts about it. Actually, was how heavily it leaned into the, the whole Midwest of it all. It was very Oklahoma. It was very, trucks and accents and rodeos, and which I thought was great. It certainly seeped through in the politics of the movie in ways that were iffy, but.
Definitely, I thought there was a little bit of reference to some global warming and climate change. You know, obviously naming one of the villains Rig after Oil Rig, definitely not a big subtle thing. Yeah, I really like the element. A lot of the soundtrack was really great too. I know we talked about that earlier, but when I heard like "This Is God's Country" song, I was like, that was surprising. I wasn't expecting.
I know. I loved it. I think that like I don't like country music at all, but again, the way they just leaned into it, I was like, okay, like yeehaw.
And I think you can see like back to Kate, you can see like her growth. Like obviously she's not fitting into her New York job, which is where she goes after the traumatic incident that she endures in the beginning, but she kind of refines herself in that Oklahoma adventure that she has.
Yeah, it's really great. I want to go back to the climate change aspect you talked about, because I actually didn't pick up on the fact that the villain was Rig. I didn't think about that at all.
That was what clicked to me first.
Okay. See, I thought it was interesting because I was reading interviews with the director who said that he wanted to purposely make it apolitical, which is an interesting take in a movie that's, global warming is what's causing all of these different climate disasters, and it felt weird to me that they didn't acknowledge that at all. They kept having all this, we want to help people and we want to save people, and it felt very, it was political. It was almost political to not mention it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the big point, was just to make money.
Yeah.
But like, you definitely can't like ignore that kind of fact behind these natural disasters. We definitely cannot ignore the man himself, Mr. Glenn Powell. Now, I have like kind of an interesting vibe in terms of him. I think that he plays the same character in a lot of movies that he does, but a lot of the time it works, and you can see that like his characters genuinely grow from being kind of like narcissistic and like self-obsessed to actually growing empathy towards others. I've seen that with his character from Top Gun Maverick and what's the one with Sydney Sweeney?
Anyone But You.
Anyone But You, and I'm sure whatever else he does next. But I actually kind of liked this character. I don't know, what did you think?
I think Glenn Powell could have chemistry with a brick wall. He's so charming. He's he has that subtlety to him too. He's playing this like crazy big social media star, but he also is able to do those little moments where they're looking at each other, and you know, he's got the subtlety to him, which is great.
Yeah. Another thing I want to touch upon, this movie was directed by Lee Isaac Chung, who directed Minari. You saw that a couple of years ago. That he was nominated for Best Director for that at the Oscars. That's a story about, I believe, Korean immigrants, if I'm correct. And that was, I watched it a long time ago, but it was very profound, and I was surprised that he made the leap from that. It was kind of like, in my mind, Chloe Zhao going from Nomadland to The Eternals.
Yeah.
But this I thought was kind of interesting. You can see some similarities in terms of like the color scheme of this movie and like some of the shots here. But I thought this was an interesting leap, and I kind of welcome it. It's interesting.
Can we talk about the color scheme? Because
Sure.
I hated it.
Really?
I thought that it was so boring. Can I say that I watched the movie on my laptop? I watched it on my laptop.
Me too.
I didn't watch it in theaters. My Wi-Fi doesn't work, so the quality was terrible. So it could have been that. That was the problem with the color. But I thought it was just so boring to look at.
Okay.
And I don't know, maybe that's just Oklahoma, but...
It might be. I mean, there's a lot of rural area, but also another thing I learned, the screenwriter for this wrote The Revenant.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Isn't that like, that's a very interesting leap.
Yeah. Downgrade.
Downgrade. And then also, we didn't touch upon Anthony Ramos, who I can tell you have a rant.
Yep.
I didn't really like his character that much. I thought this is one of his least fun parts that I've seen him play. But Jess, take it away.
Okay, I went into this hating Anthony Ramos. For those that don't know, he cheated on his fiancée, Jasmine. I don't know her last name. She was in Hamilton. She's gorgeous. She doesn't deserve to be cheated on. He very publicly cheated on her and was a jerk about it. Aside from that, personally, I don't think he was good in the movie. I think his character was, it was boring to me. They had this fight for like 3 minutes. She drove away and then he came back and said, hey, sorry. And that was it.
Yeah, I was like kind of happy they didn't do the like friends to lovers trope with them.
Yeah, oh
I
thank
was
God.
Like, that would have just been too predictable in my mind. But no, they just saved that for Glenn Powell, I guess.
But they didn't kiss.
They didn't.
They didn't kiss. They should have.
Twisters 2.
All right,
We'll see
Twisters
what
2.
happens. And yeah, I think with that, we're going to give our reviews of our final scores of the movie. So Jess, take it away. What would you give this out of 10?
4.
4?
It's a 4. That's my translation for it was fine.
Okay. I have not watched a movie since June. This is my first movie since June. And so my taste is not there right now, so I was a little bit more generous than you. I'll give this movie a 7. It was fine. Like, I had fun with it. I thought that Glenn Powell's character being like a YouTube streamer was kind of funny. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Thank you guys for watching, and with that, we'll see you next time on Review Crew.
Yeehaw.